Lonely. That was the answer an elderly man gave my adult daughter when she asked him how his day was going. My daughter works in a local store where people come and go all day. She didn't really know what to say. She acknowledged his feelings and told him it must be hard when so many people are busy with work and their own lives. But after she told me about that conversation, I couldn't stop thinking about it. That got me thinking and shedding a few tears. I found myself wondering who that man was. Did he live alone? Had he recently lost a partner? Did he have a family nearby? And why did his simple one-word answer make me want to find him, invite him to the bowls group I go to, take him to my bridge club to learn bridge and connect with friendly, welcoming people, and somehow make sure he didn't have to feel so alone? That one word stayed with me, lonely. I've been lonely, very lonely before, even in my 20s. You can also be lonely in a workplace. You spend up to 40 hours with these people, but do you really have anything in common? Would you keep up with them if you left? Usually, in my experience, you get people contact out of work, but really close friends. And that man my daughter saw, well, he obviously didn't even have a workplace anymore. What would I wish for that man? Not fame, wealth, or success. I would wish for him to have someone who knows his name and is genuinely pleased to see him. Someone who notices when he's not there. Someone who asks, "How are you?" and really wants to hear the answer. I would wish for him to have a place where he belongs, a community, a group, a circle of people who accept him as he is. I would wish for him to have purpose, a reason to get up in the morning and feel that his life matters, because it does. Most of all, I would wish for him to know that he is not invisible, that every person has value, every person has a story, and every person deserves connection. Because I don't think what he needs is extraordinary. I think he needs what all of us need: friendship, belonging, purpose, and the knowledge that someone cares. I hope he finds a club or a regular group. I hope someone reaches out to him and brightens his day, invites him somewhere, pops in for a visit. My daughter will possibly never see that man again. But ever since hearing that story, I've tried to remember that the people we pass every day are carrying burdens we know nothing about. Sometimes all it takes is a conversation to remind someone they matter. Stay with me as we look at the issue of loneliness in a world that we are told has a burgeoning population. There should be plenty of people for company for everyone, you would think. Loneliness is often invisible, but in this man's case, he verbalized his loneliness. Many people are incredibly lonely without telling anyone or reaching out. And sometimes telling people you are lonely backfires when people don't know what to say, how to help, and maybe feel overwhelmed as they are too busy, promoting guilt at the fact that they don't feel able to help. Imagine telling people you are lonely and no one cares. And it's not just the elderly who feel lonely. A general survey in the US found that 6 out of 10 adults feel lonely and emotionally disconnected. Recent surveys, including official Stats New Zealand wellbeing statistics, this is where I live, indicate that about 42% of New Zealanders experience loneliness at least a little of the time. Youth, sole parents, recent migrants and women consistently report the highest rates of loneliness across the country. This makes me wonder how many lonely people we pass every day without knowing it, and what can we do to try and spread a little sunshine to these people? Maybe just a smile, a helping hand, and even a hello or genuine compliment could brighten someone's day. The person struggling to reach something on a shelf in the supermarket. The person you pass every morning on your daily walk. Stopping for a brief chat or simply saying hello is still some human connection. Of course, deeper connections are a special treasure, and that's not going to happen with everyone we meet, but they all start with something simple. Just think how much better you feel when someone smiles warmly at you and says hello. They're basically saying, "I see you, you're worth smiling at, and share some of my joy. Try it today. I think one reason loneliness has become such a problem is that modern life often pulls us apart instead of bringing us together. Years ago, many people knew their neighbours. Families lived closer, together. People belonged to clubs, churches, sports teams or community groups where they saw the same faces week after week. Relationships weren't always deep, but there was a sense of belonging. Today, many of us live much more independently. We move cities for work, spend hours commuting, work from home, shop online and entertain ourselves through screens. We can go through an entire day without having a meaningful conversation with another person. And loneliness isn't just about being physically alone. Some of the loneliest people are surrounded by others. It's the feeling that nobody really sees you, nobody knows you, or would notice if you disappeared. That's why the lonely man my daughter met stayed in my mind, because behind every lonely person is a human story. A person who once had hopes, friendships, dreams and connections just like the rest of us. I've found connection and friendship through community groups in my life, bowls, bridge and other special interest groups. I also once volunteered to meet with a woman who needed encouragement in her faith. I had no expectations, but we ended up being good friends and still keep in contact today. So let us look at the importance of community groups. Community groups matter because they give us something that social media, television and even casual friendships often can't provide, a sense of belonging. Human beings are social creatures. We need to feel that we are part of something bigger than ourselves. Whether it's a sports club, a choir, a volunteer organisation, a book club, a church or a walking group. Community groups bring people together around a shared interest or purpose. They create opportunities for regular contact and that's important. Friendships rarely appear overnight. They grow through repeated conversations, familiar faces and shared experiences. Community groups provide the space for those connections to develop naturally. They also give people a reason to show up. For someone who is lonely, isolated, retired, widowed or new to an area, that regular point of contact can make an enormous difference. It reminds them that they are seen, valued and that their presence matters. I started attending a nearby indoor bowls group after someone I knew from another special interest group invited me. They knew my schedule was flexible and having that regular people contact and a new interest added a much needed dimension to my life. Someone else from that same special interest group invited me to learn contract bridge, which I did. I didn't make close friends from either, and the people are mostly older than me, but there is a certain sense of comfort from knowing that every week you can turn up and you'll see someone and have a bit of fun and use your brain. I'm sure if I was in a crisis, someone would help me from these groups. I did make a very close friend from meeting them initially in the original special interest group. In a world where many traditional social connections have weakened, community groups can help rebuild the sense of belonging that so many people are searching for. Thanks for watching and listening. Please leave your comments below. Have you experienced loneliness? Have you ever found someone that was lonely and been able to help them? What do you suggest? And what has helped you in this situation? Thanks. See you next week.